the greatest heroes.
You just ignored his point. You just ignored his point.
No,
you just ignored his point.
No,
now.
I haven't.
William, that was a brilliant point. There was a democratically elected leader.
No,
it was very relatively stable. 1953.
I know about 1953.
Because British petrol profits were down, the US, persuaded by the British, went in, staged a coup and got rid of their democratically elected.
Moments like this are why the debate over Iran, war, and Western intervention remains so explosive. Because behind today's headlines sits a much longer history, one that critics say still shapes the politics of the Middle East today. And in this heated panel discussion, that history suddenly becomes impossible to ignore.
Blair has waded in to it over the weekend as well. He said Keir Starmer should have backed America from the very beginning and let the Trump administration use British air bases to strike Iran. Blair was talking, it seems, at a private event and didn't expect to be quoted. He's now been attacked. You can see the divisions over this because the Mirror now attacked Blair for apparently backing Trump with the headline, "Have you learnt nothing, Mr. Blair?" So it's all getting very divisive, even in week 2, Marina.
In a crowded room of people, Blair is the very last person we should be listening to, and it does show you he's learnt nothing. That we were dragged into that illegal war, the war that we are still dealing with, the repercussions, and he has learnt nothing.
But Blair's point, his exact words, Ron, were
you better show up.
Yeah, exactly. When America comes calling, you better show up. Do you think that's right?
Well, the way I understand it is that they wanted to use air bases to refuel in Chagos Island and here in the UK as part of their mission. But Starmer knew about this months in advance of what's going to happen, just for refueling purposes. It wasn't to ask to go to war. They were not asking for Britain to be bombing Iran. They were asking to reuse a fueling station at the air bases in the UK and in the islands, in the Chagos. So I think that's the bit that I'm sort of thinking, well, as a special relationship, your partner wants to refuel their jets, then that's fine.
That. Yeah.
Are
we thinking then, go on.
Can we stop with the special relationship? And also, Starmer, not his #1 fan here, but he's on the right side of public opinion. All these right-wing newspapers are trying to lead us to believe that actually the country wants this war. We don't. Even Conservative voters overwhelmingly
don't want to fall out with Trump.
We don't want to fall out with Trump. What are we saying here? We can all, I think, a lot of us who are paying attention can see that this man is a 34 convicted felon, all the stuff behind him, the Epstein files, the stuff that's coming out gets darker and darker and dodgier all the time. He's obviously got signs of cognitive decline. Are we saying he can launch any illegal war he likes, kill as many little school kids as he likes, right? And we, because of this special relationship, where they just abuse us, by the way, they just tariff us whenever they want, threaten us whenever they want, insult our troops. He insulted our troops. He said they hung back British troops during Afghanistan, and all these papers and all these right-wing commentators back this man. Farage, disgusting.
No, I don't think they're backing this man. I think no, they're not. I think the Office of President of America and the Prime Minister, they have a duty to look after the special relationship for the two countries. Trump will be gone in less than 3 years.
Yes, and the relationship will recover.
The relationship is important to be maintained, and I think this is the whole point of this was about having air bases that could be used to refuel on their mission on the way down. Starmer knew about this.
And so he did the right thing.
He did the right thing, but now if you say he did the right thing, then why is he reversing that decision now?
I don't know, and I wish he wouldn't.
So
I wish he would hold firm like the Spanish Prime Minister.
No,
I wish he would do that.
He's dithering.
In the position you're taking, I do understand it.
Yeah.
However, you end up in this situation where we have some Iranian sort of anti-Ayatollah Iranians protesting in London, and they get shouted at by a group of feminists, weirdly, who say the anti-Ayatollah Iranians are basically supporting Trump's war.
That's not correct. There's so much nuance to this. We're saying don't bring us into another...
There's not much nuance to the Islamic Republic.
No, of course, and everyone wants them gone. But
yes, exactly. That's it, isn't it?
This is not what Trump's doing.
But that's it.
But if you look at every intervention by the US where there's been regime change, and they always find oil, by the way, wherever they go for this regime change, it never ends well for the people. And I can understand, get rid of that disgusting regime.
Yes.
But trying to make out that we're supporting Trump, so he's doing this.
How do you get rid of that regime? regime then? What do you do?
So the reason that this has been considered an illegal war is because there were other routes. There were peace talks. The mediator from Oman said that they were close to peace talks
You don't think
without
they'd
all
work,
these
Ron?
civilian casualties.
No,
so they didn't have to do this.
Listen, Lord Wilson has already actually produced a document to tell you why this war is legal. And when you think about legalities and illegalities, the lawyers will always disagree. They will always disagree whether something is legal or illegal.
Right. So the US have now said they've seized Iranian oil. So you don't think they've just gone in there?
They haven't gone in for oil. No,
Let's
they've gone
pause,
in for
let's
regime
pause.
change.
Of
Let's
course
pause.
they
They've
have.
gone in there.
Why don't they go into Russia for regime change? Why don't they
they've
go
gone in
into
there
to Palestine
Well,
for
there's a
regime
lot of oil in
Israel
Russia
for
as well.
regime
They've gone in
change?
there
Hang
for
on,
regime
let's pause.
Korea.
Let's pause.
Gone in there for regime
Pause.
change.
The argument quickly shifts from diplomacy to public opinion.
If they can't change their own government, someone's got to help them. Really, that's the idea.
And do you know what? I understand that, but what I hate about this is people pretending this is what Trump is doing. He's doing it for regime change for the Iranian people. You don't depose of a leader, have no plan for afterwards, and then start killing their children and absolutely destroying their infrastructure if you care about the Iranian
This is
people.
where I agree with Marina for the first time here. We don't know what Trump is doing. We don't know what he wants.
doesn't know what he's doing.
We don't know what he wants to do. We're not even sure. We're just trying to guess here. But in terms of international law, and it can be interpreted in so many different facets depending on which lawyer you have, but it's about restraining a tyranny. And in Iran, we have a tyranny. And therefore, us going to stop a tyrannical ruler in Iran is actually
allowed.
international law.
Okay. Ron,
Yes.
Are you all about protecting interests at home or abroad? Because I feel like you seem a bit conflicted on this.
No, I think, no, I'm not. I think I'm about protecting interest across the whole world. And I think, yes,
What do you say?
That includes home and abroad. Why do you think I'm not conflicted?
Because I feel like we've spoken before, and you've talked about how we should focus on our own. Hence, why conservatives you think that we should deport people because we need to prioritise our own. And yet here you're saying actually it's fine. Let's bomb this country because then by the way, where did these people go? Why does no one think about this when we are just bombing these countries to smithereens? And it's like, oh look, we've got Iranians coming over.
You're putting caricatures about me that are not even realistic. The truth is, the world is a very complex world. So what?
So they're pro-deportation.
Which party you belong to?
I'm politically homeless right now.
Really? Well,
Yes.
so I know where I stand. You don't know where you stand.
So you stand.
So I'm a conservative. You don't have a home.
No, you stand for a party who is pro-deportations, and this is why I'm having this conversation.
It's not pro-deportations.
No,
The Conservative Party is not pro-deportation. It's pro-illegal migration. That's the difference.
Against illegal migration. Yeah.
Right.
Dismantle the regime, and then you'll get a different government, and then it will sort itself out. You don't think that will happen?
No, I don't. I'm just going on history, sadly.
Yeah.
Whenever there is Western intervention, it doesn't end well. By the way, one in
Israeli, by the way, as well.
people. Yeah, there you go. 1 in 3 people that came over on the boats was from Iran. And we're all like, we don't want those boats coming over, and yet people, the right-wing press, the same right-wing press that don't want the boats.
We
But
don't
they might
want
stop
illegal
coming
boats
now.
coming over. That's a big difference. But the thing about international law is supposed to protect us from tyrants, and tyrants affect the whole globe, including the UK.
Trump, Putin, Netanyahu are the biggest tyrants. Some of the biggest tyrants are allies. Can I also say one thing?
I don't think so.
Russia has been widely reported to be sharing intelligence with Iran, right? Telling
we're
them.
against Russia.
Hang on a second.
We're against Russia.
Hang on a second. Telling them where US military or my aircraft are. Trump has not even sanctioned them, hasn't said a peep about them.
We're against Russia.
Not a word.
We're fighting Russia in Ukraine.
Hang on, I'm talking about something else, Ron. Let me finish the sentence.
Okay,
Trump will sanction and have these words for Starmer because he didn't let them use a military base, and yet his pal Putin, I mean, he's compromised up to the hilt,
It's not
surely.
his pal Putin. We're fighting Russia in Ukraine.
But
how are they
Trump is
friends?
Putin's patsy.
No, then that's just your opinion. That's not what's happening.
At this point, the discussion becomes openly confrontational.
What do you think about that, Ron? It's really conflicting now.
It is a very complex situation right now. I do think that the king should go because this is way, way above what the two personalities are debating here. Between Starmer and Trump, those are to do with international diplomacy and so on. It's not working, but it doesn't mean the special relationship gets damaged. The king goes there and, yes, the king goes there and he reasserts his presence. He is well respected by the President of the United States.
It might help, Marina.
And it would help.
Yeah, that might help us get calm Trump down.
I can't believe the world has to placate this little man-child.
Because he's the most powerful person
But people,
in the world.
Do you know what? We wouldn't be here if we had more people, again, like the Spanish PM, standing up to this tyrant. What have we done with the peas? Where's it got us? Nowhere.
It's true, we didn't
what was the king going to do? Oh, hello, Donald, you know my brother. Well, you've got some connect. Come on, it's just all
Marina,
so dodgy.
a tyrant who runs for elections every 4 years? Really? Is that what your definition of tyrant is?
He is, what are you saying?
Trump?
Hitler won democratically. He was a tyrant. What's your point?
Donald Trump, who lost an election and then win another election.
Yeah,
I'm not here to defend Donald Trump, but I'm here to tell you that the office of United States of America is the leader of the free world. That's the office, and he will be changed in 3 years' time when we have a new president.
Let's get Andrew.
And if it's a Democrat that comes in, they're going to not have good.
This cultish aggression towards this man, it should be just.
He is a tyrant.
He's not a tyrant. He's won democratically.
Let's not go around.
But the conversation isn't finished yet.
Good morning, Jeremy.
What do you think of what Starmer's done here? He's put some distance between us and Washington.
I think he's let down the British people at the end of the day. What's lacking in this war is the truth. And just remember, your male panellist, I think he's a bit naive. In 1953,
well, you're agreeing with him.
In 1953, it was Britain and America who done away with a democratic elected government because they were after the oil and put the despot, the Shah, back in the throne so they could control the oil. He's taught about all these laws. America and Britain have always ignored these laws. And the man that went with Americans was Winston Churchill. That's his great hero.
Yeah. That's the great hero of this country, William. And I would not even deny that, and I wouldn't even change my mind about that. Winston Churchill is one of the greatest heroes.
You just ignored his point. You just ignored his point.
No,
you just ignored his point now.
No, I haven't.
William, that was a brilliant point. There was a democratically elected leader. It was relatively stable. 1953.
I know about 1953.
Because British petrol profits were down, the US, persuaded by the British, went in, staged a coup and got rid of their democratically elected leader.
History is history, and I don't deny the history of what happened there.
Our greatest leader.
Yes, absolutely. Nobody's perfect. There's always going to be areas where you find about Winston Churchill that we do not fully agree with. It doesn't make him a bad leader. He's the greatest we ever had.
Thank you, William. Thank you for all your calls on this.
What makes debates like this so intense is that they're never really just about one conflict. Supporters of intervention often argue that powerful countries sometimes have a responsibility to act, especially when authoritarian regimes threaten regional stability or human rights. From that perspective, alliances like the one between the United States and Britain are meant to provide strength and coordination during dangerous moments. But critics see a very different pattern. They argue that many interventions in the Middle East have created consequences that lasted for decades. Wars that began with clear objectives often ended with unstable governments, humanitarian crises, and long-term regional tension. That's why historical moments like the 1953 coup in Iran are brought up again and again in debates like this one. For many people, those events represent the beginning of a cycle of mistrust that still influences how Western actions are viewed in the region today. So the real argument here isn't simply about Trump, Starmer, or even this specific conflict. It's about whether powerful nations have learned from the past or whether the same patterns are repeating once again. And that's a question that continues to divide politicians, journalists, and voters alike. What do you think? Should long-standing alliances mean automatic support during conflicts? Or should every war be judged independently? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you want more breakdowns of the biggest political debates shaping the world right now, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one.